Good afternoon. My name is Laura Bishop, and I'm the Technology Integration Specialist for the Springdale District. And my job is to help or to assist teachers as they infuse their classroom with technology with a purpose for learning. Here in Springdale, we are beginning our 5th year as a one-to-one district. We are technology strong, and our classrooms contain 23,000 Chromebooks, 3,000 iPads, 1,800 laptops, 1,225 interactive whiteboards. To gauge the impact of technology on our teaching, we have adopted the SAMR model. SAMR is an acronym for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. At the substitution and augmentation level, the use of the technology is considered to enhance the task or activity, and at the modification and redefinition levels, the technology transforms the lesson. If you cannot perform the task without the technology, it is considered a redefinition of the task, which is utilizing the full power of our technology. If the goal of your technology this year is to transform a few more of your activities and lessons to modification or redefinition levels, then your next step might be to look at expanding your students' learning beyond the walls of your classroom. By providing an opportunity for them to participate in a global collaboration, or by leveraging the experience of an expert in a field, you can provide a more authentic, real-world, and relevant experience for your student. We have a lot of resources we can share with you that could help you make those connections with experts and global collaborations. Maybe your goal for classroom technology this year is to get more from Google Suite. Maybe your goal for technology this year is to utilize your interactive board more. We have a lot of Prometheans in the district, and Active Inspire is now actually ClassFlow. And with that program, you can actually control your students' monitor along with the Promethean. If you move forward, if you slide advance on the Promethean, their monitor slide advances. And there are a lot of interactive activities that are included there. So it's a highly engaging tech tool. Maybe this year you just want to engage a few more of your content-specific tech tools if you're in science or art or math. Maybe for maps, for social studies, or geometry. Maybe you just need some new resources for digital citizenship. Or maybe in December you would like to join the Hour of Code. We've got some resources for you there too. Maybe you just like some fresh ideas for your technology. On the district website, we have a Springdale integration page. At the top there, that is my contact, lbishop@sdelt.org. Maybe you've already got a lesson designed and you would like to know what technology would support the learning in that lesson. Or maybe when you're implementing a new technology tool into your classroom, you'd like an extra set of hands to help you. I could do those things for you. Just email me. We talked about SAMR a little bit earlier. If you're new to the district, you may not have gone through the training, but the training is posted right here on this site if it's something you would like to review. Today I'm going to set up a little scenario of using a lesson with a lot of technology tools in it. And to do that, I'm going to use one of the resources from this website. I'm going to use the Choice Board Tech Tools. So what this is it's really just a Google slide. This first slide on the tool is an introduction. The second one gives you a few instructions. It is designed to use for yourself as a teacher, or you can present it to the student so that they can make a choice of what tool they prefer. The third page here is links to other slides within the tool, within the slide. So the first one here, we've got some social media templates, more templates, infographics. You can see we have a lot of Google presentations, and we also have some non-Google tools as well. So this lesson that I'm going to insert a lot of technology into, I'm going to start out as you would with the anatomy of any good lesson. I'm going to determine what my students already know, and I'm going to try to activate their prior knowledge. We call it APK sometimes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a poll, and I'm going to ask them some questions, and the way I want them to respond is on a Padlet. So I'm going to need the Padlet tool. And I just got that off the link from our Tech Tool Choice Board. Then I'm going to have them jigsaw some of their information. And I'm going to use two different resources. This one is Citable with SC, like science, which has some good information on it. I'm going to let them use that site. And then the other site I'm going to let them use is OpenStax with some books on it. I'm going back and open up Citable. All right. Then I'm going to have them just come together with their information and do a little collaboration, and I want them to share their information on a rough draft, and I'm going to use Google Slides. I like to use Google Slides when there's several students working on it, because if you use a doc, sometimes they're fighting over space, but if you give them a sheet or a slide, you can give them a designated area to work. Then, when they're finished with that, that's going to be their rough draft, but what I really want to do is I want to give them the Tech Tool Choice Board, and I want to tell them to go to the page with infographics and give them the choice of any of those tools they want to assemble their information to share with the rest of the class. So they'll pick whichever of these they like. Let's pretend they picked PictoChart. Okay? PictoChart has some interactive maps on it, by the way. All right, so there's PictoChart. And then they may not get finished with all this today, but just the same, I want to make sure that they are taking something away with their learning from today, and I want to know what it is, and I want to hear every single voice in the classroom. So I'm going to use Flipgrid. So I'm going to have to get a Flipgrid going. Okay, so now, wow, what have I got here? Look at all these tabs. I've got Flipgrid, there's one. Your infographic, there's two. I gave them the choice board so they can make their own choice. There's 3. Oh yeah, they rough draft on their Google Slides. There's 4. We had a couple of different, what have we got? 7 tabs? Oh no, oh wow. Okay, that's a lot of classroom management. That's a lot for a student to handle. Oh. But what if? What if you could eliminate all of that tab hopping? What if your students could make an early start on their homework? What if you could view student achievement on any standard or learning objective with a single click? What if you could see what your student needed to do tonight? What if your student, oh, this is from the parent's point of view. What if you could grade anywhere and anytime without paper? Just pick up your smartphone or your tablet. Ooh, what if you could never lose your homework? Students cannot lose the homework. What if all parents, students, faculty, and staff had one communication point? What if you could provide instant feedback on tests? What if you could have only one place to go for everything you need? What if we had Schoology? So what is Schoology? Let's hear from one of the co-founders of Schoology.
We created Schoology in 2009 really with the mission of continuously advancing what's possible in education. At the click of a button, you can personalize education, you can assess student strength and weakness, you can grow student outcomes like you've never been able to do before. Schoology is a learning management system that simplifies the teaching and learning process by connecting people with all of the tools that they need in one simple platform. Schoology has made it possible for the boundaries of the classroom to be extended beyond just the brick and wall. The reality is that people are online all the time. Students and learners have devices in their pockets, and they expect that same sort of immediacy from education. The goal for us has been to be able to deliver that kind of experience anytime, anywhere, and on any device. One of the core things that's great about Schoology is the focus on communication and collaboration. And what we've tried to do is make that a core part of the platform so that it's infused in students' learning and teachers' teaching every single day. Those are two elements that are so critical for success in life in general. We see it all the time where educators are actually collaborating with other educators not just within the same institution, not even in the same region, but potentially even broader around the world, across the country. And they're sharing not only ideas, but resources, best practices, even sometimes full lessons and units that can be used in other people's coursework. Everything is right at their fingertips.
Okay, so what is Schoology? Here's a formal definition for you. Schoology, a learning management system, sometimes we call that an LMS, that has all the tools you need to create engaging content, design lessons, and assess students' understanding. Sounds like a one-stop shop for a teacher and admin. So what can I do with Schoology? Well, I can put all my courses and content there, and my students can interact with that. They can participate at the Schoology site. I can also share resources, not only with my students, but with other teachers. I could build some communication groups. I could communicate with my team, or extracurricular, or PLC, or content alike. And Schoology has a great number of apps that integrate with it, including Google Drive and YouTube. Privacy and security of a student is of utmost interest for Schoology. Schoology also has a repository of instructional resources, and you can build your own, and you can find some on the public resources as well. So it's like having your file cabinet in the cloud. So the possibilities with Schoology are endless. So we have been, like we said, this is our 5th year as a one-to-one district. We have been a Google district for 4 years now, and some of us are very comfortable with Google. So I know your question is, what does this mean about Google? If we do Schoology, how do those two work together? Here are a few people who have been using both of those.
Before Schoology, we never had classrooms collaborating around the country, and now I would say that is pretty regular in our district.
Our teachers were starting to become very frustrated. Every time we would introduce a new technology and say we're not using X anymore, now we're going with Y. And when we introduced Schoology, it was great because we didn't say we're giving up Google. It said we're still using Google, but now we're going to be able to do more because we're going to take Google and integrate it with Schoology in our LMS.
Initially, I wasn't using Schoology as much as I was using Classroom, but now that I know that it can offer me better organizational structure than Classroom, I would have probably used it much sooner.
When I first started using Google Classroom, what I really liked about it was that it was really easy to use. There were only a couple of things that you could do with it, and I think I liked that because I was new. So I started to use it, and I started to see some flaws. The reason why I started using it became the reason why I had to find something new. I tried out Schoology. The combination of using Google and Schoology together has really been able to move my classroom forward.
I think that they're both great tools, but they accomplish different things. And so I'm able to really accomplish what I want using Schoology.
But it's all housed within Schoology, where students do their work within Schoology, and the community is in Schoology. So it's one way in which you can create a blended lesson that's differentiated and personalized for students.
Schoology is the way to go for the kids to stay organized. I think it's easier for them to manage their learning experience. About 8 or 9 of my kids are special ed, and I have a little boy, and he has a lot of difficulties with his short-term working memory. And his mom, she said, "You don't understand how this has totally leveled the playing field for him academically." It really is amazing to see the growth through the use of the technology.
We've looked at our analytics, and it has been mind-blowing to watch how Schoology has spread. I often say it's like wildfire.
Thank you. Okay. So as you can tell, Schoology is a big tool with a lot of different features. It's a little overwhelming at first if we try to do all of it. So let's try to just concentrate on one particular part. For beginning, let's talk about communication. We have been playing around at almost getting to Schoology, but now it's time to go there. So I kind of made a little slide here just to help us with what we're going to do when we get there. So the first thing we're going to do is to access Schoology. Then once we're there, we're going to just navigate around on Schoology. And then we're going to take a look at your courses. Your principal has already made a group for you to join for communication, so we're going to join that group. We're going to look at where you can customize your profile, and then we're going to show you where you can modify any notifications if you get for your email sake, for saving your email. And then we're going to look at accessing the support system for Schoology. Okay, so here we go. All right, if you guys will, please log in at learn.sdale.org, and we are going to give you 3 minutes to get settled in. If for some reason you can't get in, just sit patiently, try several times. If you don't get in, let us know, and I'm going to have a form that you can complete and let us know who you are. So we're going to give you 3 minutes. Okay, so if you had some problems, like maybe it said you couldn't use your Google sign-on, it may be because you're brand new or you're in the wrong building now. Maybe you've changed buildings. Not that you're in the wrong building, but maybe that you've changed buildings. So I have a little form here, or if there's something wrong that you just want to let me know about and you want to make a formal, you just want to make a concern or comment to me, this Google form will help you get there. So just go to goo.gl/NJPF8G, and those are case sensitive. So make sure you've got a capital N in there and a lowercase j. Once you're there, please give me as much information as you can, and we will follow up to find out what we need to do to get you going. I'm going to leave that there for just a few more seconds. But like I said, if you're brand new, you may not be in there yet. It just may be a matter of time. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to learn.sdale.org. And I'm going to get logged in. And this is our landing. So every time you log in, this is where you will end up. And you can see across this top, this is our navigation bar. And this logo at the top will always bring you back to this spot. This logo for Springdale Schools could change. It will be your school logo soon. We are going through a branding process. I don't know exactly when that occurs, but when you see your school logo up there, you'll know it's still the same thing. That will be your home spot. So we have two tabs here when we're at home. We have recent activity, and this is basically just a news feed of anything from your groups or courses that are posted. And then the next tab is a course dashboard, and that's just a quick access to any of your courses. You'll notice I have a couple of courses in here. The ones with this little badge or little icon that looks like a little badge means that you are an administrator in that course, and if you don't see that badge, that means you are a student in that course. So you can act as both an administrator and a student. All right, so that's just the home, the landing spot. From there, I'm going to move just a little bit right on that navigation bar to courses. So if you guys will, just select courses with me. So now these are your courses again. They're in a little bit different alignment here. But if I select over here to My Courses, you'll get a different view of those courses. This is where if you needed to edit one of those or make any actions on a course, this little gear shift over here to the right would help you. Okay. Also, I'm going to move a little further. Courses is basically like your classroom. This is the formal interaction with your students where you'll have their assignments, their grades, you can post in your course. Any of those things that you want to do like you would in your classroom will happen here. This next, on the navigation bar, the next one over is groups. So I'm going to click groups. And the same thing happens here. I've got 4 groups here, and you will notice that each of those has a badge on those, which means those are ones that I'm an admin on, and the other one is one that I'm just a member of. Okay. These are your this is your communication, and if you want to build a group with maybe your volleyball team or with your after-school coding club or any of those things, this is where you could do that. Your PLC, your grade alike, your content alike, any group you want to build, this is where you would do that communication point. One more tab over is resources. Okay, so this is like your filing cabinet. In your filing cabinet, you can have your own personal filing cabinet, and then you have some other choices there as well. We're going to keep moving. We're just going to make a broad overview, and then we're going to back up and look at these just a little bit closer today. As we move on across this navigation bar, you see the magnifying glass, which is basically just like any website. It is a place to find something. It's a search tool. And then one more over, you'll see the 4 square. This is your App Center. Okay, and I'm going to invite you guys while we're there to just go ahead and click on App Center. I'd like for you to see how many things are integrated with Schoology already. This means, you know, the problem I was having earlier with all those tabs, this right here will help big time. Then I'm going to move one more icon over. This is your calendar. This calendar, it would have all your course updates, all your due dates, information that you would put in from either your courses or your groups. And what can happen is that you can download this calendar to your Google Calendar if you wanted, but you cannot upload Google to this calendar. So I don't know if you would want to keep those together anyway, but you could download this to your Google Calendar if you wish. Then one more icon over is messaging. So I don't have to leave here. If I want to send someone a message, I don't have to leave here to do that. I could just start a new message right here. And I can also receive messages there. And then one more over is a notification. So that's where you can see what's happened since the last time you had checked in. All right. Now, last but not least over here is your personal information. So when you click on that, you may see, probably you'll just have one account right now, but down towards the bottom, if you want to fix your profile and grab a snapshot or just take a few minutes to fix that, we can do that now. So right here on the caret down, then pick your profile, and this is where you can complete your information. You can do your information. You could actually keep a portfolio here if you wanted, and you can take a look at updates if you want, or you can give an update there if you wanted. So if you decide you want to put a picture, just roll over that space and you'll see the edit picture, and you can use that to insert a picture. Okay. The other thing you can do from here is go to Settings. Okay, so this is where you can change how you prefer your name, how you want it to appear. The next tab over, this is where you can select notifications. If you don't want to know every time your student posts in the course, if you just want to save it and look there, if you don't want to get an email each time, you can just select those off. Same thing with groups. If you'd rather just go to the group and you don't need an email for the post, if it's something urgent, you might want to leave it on. And then the same thing here with your email. Okay. So that's a quick view across the top navigation bar. Now I'm going to show you something very important. As you get to use Schoology as a new user, you may want some help, and it may be midnight. And you're like, I wish I had somebody to talk to about this instead of having to research and find it. So any page that you're on in Schoology, if you will just scroll completely to the bottom, and right there in the center of the page, where it says support, if you select that, then you have a help center, and you also have some other help desk opportunities down here. These at the bottom are something our district has paid for 1 year, so we will have this live chat available for 1 year. All right, and we even have phone support if you'd rather talk on the phone. All right, so let's pretend we're going to start a group and we need to know how to do that. I'm going to click on the Help Center. I want you to notice that for convenience, the Help Center opens in a second tab. That way, if you're reading step by step, you can toggle between those two. And I am going to look up Create a Group and see what comes up. So it found 1,245 results. Some of those are just comments and questions within the community. And here's one that looks like it'd probably be what I'm after, and that would be Guide to Schoology Groups. So I'm clicking on that, and you can see I've got links to other, I can get directly to, say I'm only interested in group resources, there's a link directly to that portion. Or maybe I want to create a group, and look, I've got step by step. So this is when the convenience of two tabs come in. So it says click groups at the top of Schoology. So I could come back over here, and I could click groups. Okay. Right, so that's one part of the Help Center which will be very useful. The other part I think that is super useful is the live chat. So like I said, it doesn't matter what time of day. This is a 24/7 service. It's only available to teachers and not to learners. But you click on the live chat, and down in the bottom right hand of your screen, you'll see a little box pop up that says live chat, and then you can just start typing right there, and someone will answer you. Do we have any questions or anything so far? So far, so good. All right, so that's the top navigation bar. That was a quick little navigation tour. And then we were going to have you, remember we were going to focus on communication. So of those three, this is your classroom, This is your filing cabinet, and groups is your communication. So to join a group, we're just going to select groups. Then you're going to come over to My Groups. Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to join a group. So select Join Group. And you should have a box pop up that says Access Code. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back over to our presentation, and I have a list of those codes for you to view. All you'll need to do is find your school and then put your code in that box. That code is not case sensitive, and you don't even have to worry about the dash. So we're going to give you a minute and a half to join that course. Okay, well, so hopefully you were all able to join your principal's group. And now I am going to jump back over here to Schoology. All right, so we've joined a group. So let's look at the group for just a minute. So I'm going to Groups. And I'm going to look at this one that says Sandbox, because that's a play group for me that I've created. And when I get there, you will see that I have updates, and I haven't updated anything in this group. There are discussions. There's just one. There are albums. You could do a photo album here if you wanted. You can look and see who all the members of the group are. And then you can also store some resources here if you want. So if you created a resource in your own file cabinet, you could transfer it to the group and share it with whoever is in the group. So how do I add resources? I'll just click Add Resources, and these are the things that I can add. Okay, a little bit about groups. Say I've created a group and I don't really want that group. So I need to come back over to My Groups, because I'm looking for this gear icon next to the group. That will give me editing ability. Okay, I could delete it there or edit, and even add a member, put a member in if I wanted to, or edit the members that are in there. Okay, so that's My Groups. You may just have one right now, the one you just joined with your principal for communication. The next one here is School Groups. So when I look at School Groups, those are things that are happening in your school. You may or may not have any there. And then the last tab over here are public groups. Now these are pretty cool, because you may find some resources in here you want to snag. You can search through there, and you can see that if you're interested in science, then I would just go over here and I would join that group. Okay. Alrighty, so that's a little bit on groups. One thing that we think might be one of your first steps for communication with this tool is to create a group with your PLC or with your grade-alike team. So the way you would do that, I'm just going to step you through how to make a group in case that's one of the first steps you want to do. We go to groups. I'm going back over to my groups. And just like before when we joined a group, this time we're going to select create group. You can name the group, give it a quick description, and then this is where you can select the privacy. Do you want it to be only to the organization? Do you want it just for your school? Let me explain organization. Organization is district-wide. Do you want the school only to have access to this group, or only the people in the group? I guess you could have no one in your group. I'm going to cancel that. Okay, so that's how you create a group, a really fast version of that. All right, now let's go back to resources for just a moment. So you're like, okay, I'm fired up. I want to put some stuff in here so I can share it with those students. So when you go to resources, you have several different filing cabinets basically in your resources. I think of this as an entire different filing cabinet. The personal one will be, of course, the things that you want to store or take from somewhere else and put into your personal resource. Then there's a public resource. So let's select public resource and let you guys look through that for a second. If you see something you like, you can always add it by selecting over here to the right. Here's some badges. I can just select where I wanted to submit that to. These are some of the reason you see these terms here are these are my groups. So I could put it in home, or I could put it in training materials. I'm just going to throw that in home because I want to look at those badges later. I'm not necessarily going to assign it to a folder right now. And I'm just going to say move. If I don't like it, I'll take it out of there later. Okay, so that's public resources. So let's go back up to my personal at home. And looky there, there's badges. I got it moved in there from the public resource. I decide I don't want it, guess what? I can delete it, move it, or if I really like it, if it's a source I really like and I want to add it straight to a course, I can do that there also. Okay. Okay, so that's public. We've done the personal. Now let's look at the group resources. So like we said, if you make a PLC group and you have a few things in your personal resource that you'd like to share with everybody in your grade level or in your PLC, that's where you'll find them. You can find them in two places. You can actually find them from resources, and also if I went back over to group and I select my PLC group, I'll see resources there, the same resources as well. And it's the same thing here with adding resources. Okay. Now what I would like for you guys to do, if you will, is on that very bottom for resources are your apps. When you select that, you will see Google Drive, and if you haven't already connected your Google Drive, this might be a good time for you to do that. Anytime a third party accesses Google, they have to get your Drive, they have to get permission. Okay. If you would like to install more apps, you can do that from here. Of course, it's going to ask us to agree. Okay, so that's a little bit about resources. We've got several different filing cabinets there. All right, I was going to show you, you know how we said from groups you can find your resources here? So when I go back over to groups where we were before and I select one, you will see that you have resources there, and it would be the same resources that you saw in the other one. It's just two places to get to it. Okay, so let's move back over to courses and talk about those for just a second. All right, hopefully you guys are looking at a few courses. Since it's elementary, you may just have one course because you'd have the same students all day, maybe. And you will, if you look into that course, for example, let's just click into one. I'm going to click into this course right here. When you look down the left-hand side, you will see members. So I want to tell you guys something. When you look into that members right now, you'll say, okay, well, that's my course, but I have nobody there. What will happen is on Monday morning, those members will be there. Those will be your students. That will be like your roster already placed there for you. You do not have to do it. They will be there for you. Okay? So you can get a look at who all's going to be in there on Monday morning. All right. So let's take a look in materials. You could add materials into your course here if you want. You can add folders. A suggestion that has been made is that if you are, every single campus may want to designate eventually some kind of a structure to these folders so that students, as they, I don't know if they move a lot from class to class in there, but when they do, they would recognize that same structure. So if Unit 1 is always red and it's got everything I need for Unit 1 or Week 1 or however you decide to do that, then that would be something that would be convenient and make it really easy on the student. So let's say that I want to add an assignment here. The best place to do that would be from resources. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to skip back over to resources because you always want to create everything in your resources and then move it to your course. So I don't want to set a bad example. We could do it here, but I'm going to back to resources here in a minute before we actually add that. Let's just continue to move down through these different options that we have. So here's where you could post an update for your course. Here's where you'd see the grade book. Okay, this is a self-paced course, so there's really, I didn't have anything graded much in it, but you can see how that aligns. There's your students, and then that would be your, across your x-axis up there would be all your different assignments. You can decide how you want to set that up. Do you want numeric? How do you want to set that up? Here's a great feature that I think eventually will be put to great use in this district is mastery, and that is that we can align every assignment and every discussion up with its learning objective or its standard, and then at a glance we could see how those students are doing. It color codes it. Red, they've achieved that mastery, they've mastered it, or green, vice versa. But anyway, it's color coded as to whether or not they have mastered a particular standard. Then if we go one more down, I know elementary might really like this. You can award a badge. So we've got if they complete this course, I'm going to add them a badge. Okay. Then we can see who are the members in that course. And then this is a kind of a cool feature too. You can see the analytics for that course. I can see the course, how many total page views, 511 page views for it, 15 comments. Here are the users. This tells me exactly how long they were logged in and what they for each, and even the times. I can look at the assignments. Like I said, this is self-paced. It really didn't have any assignments. It had more discussions. It was for an adult course. And then, of course, this is some of the links that were involved in that course. Okay, so if I want to add a member to that class, I can do that myself. I'll go to members, and I could add them from there. Okay, that's just a little bit about courses. Right now, you do not need to worry about adding your members. Your kiddos will be provisioned from eSchool by Monday. Okay, now let's take another look over here. Remember how I said on resources, that's where you'd want to build everything. So let's get back over here to resources for just a moment. And let's, I just want to show you how to tag a learning objective and where you can find the standards. So I'm just going to say add resource, and I'm going to pretend I'm making an assignment. Okay, I could give it a title. I could give it a description. And then I can decide if this is how I want to do, if it's points or what it is there. But this is a cool feature. Rubric, I can create a new rubric. It'll save that rubric, and I can attach it to any assignment I want to. And it'll let you do it right here without even going to another tab. Okay, so you could create your rubric. You could make it visible to the student if you want. Some of the other options you have on assignment is to attach a learning objective. So I'm going to go down here to state standards. We are in Arkansas. I'm going to look at curriculum framework. And K through 8 is having to tag computer science standards on a lot of our assignments. So we are going to go right here. And you can see that we have those standards there. And I could just say, it's going to take it a little bit here to populate. I could say add that learning objective there. Now, when that student completes that assignment, in that screen we saw earlier, we can see how well he did with that. So I can pick which one of those I needed. Okay, so it's a really quick way to tag all of your assignments. Whoops, I'm not going to submit that. All right. There are two different types of resources, basically. Some of these are informational and some are interactive. Interactive means basically you could give a grade and a student interacts with it. So if we did an assignment, a test or quiz, an assessment, and a discussion, all of those things could be graded. The others would be informational, like you could add a file or a link. Let's say I wanted to add a link, but instead of adding a link, like I was talking about doing that Flipgrid earlier, I could grab the embed code from that and place it right there, and then they don't have to leave Schoology at all. They can go right to their Flipgrid within that. So some of the options there would be to align the learning objectives again, display it in Schoology. That talks about how you want it to display in a new window. How do you want that to come up? And any additional information you might want to add, you can do that here as well to the assignment. Okay, so we have gone through a little bit on adding resources. Another thing that you can do here, this options, is basically you can just reorder. It causes this little arrow to pop up. So if I were teaching elementary, I might always keep the current folder at the top for convenience for the students. Okay, so that's just a little bit there in courses and resources. Okay, so always build a resource, share it with your PLC group, and then move it to your courses. All right, I'm going to go back to our presentation just for a moment here. Just to talk to you a little bit about how we're implementing Schoology. We have decided to go with the building leads option. We have 27 buildings have submitted names. This is in the baby stages. We are just rolling Schoology out. We have not even had time to talk to everybody who wants to be a lead. But 14 of those buildings we did get a little chance to squeeze some of it in right before school started. So 14 of those buildings have a few people who have received some training. And remember, even if you can't get to your building lead or they haven't been identified yet, you still have the support system down there at the bottom of any page. That thing is phenomenal. It will help you, and that live chat will be a great help. Okay. So that's a little bit about how what to look for there. So if you're interested in performing, in working with Schoology, this might be some of your next steps. You might want to first build in your personal resources, get some things ready to share. You might want to create a PLC group, and then you might want to transfer some of those resources to the PLC group so that you're not all doing the same work twice. And then you want to think about how you're going to organize in courses. You may want to be consistent throughout a campus. And then don't worry about your course members. They will populate for you from eSchool. All right, I want to thank you guys. My name is Bishop. My name is Laura Bishop. That is my contact, my email, lbishop@sdel.org. If you have any comments or any concerns, or you just flat couldn't get on today and you want to let us know about it, once again, that is that form that you can use to submit your names and information. And I think we're going to hang around here for just a few minutes if you have any questions, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful start for the first year, but we will hang around here for just a few more minutes in case you have any questions. Thank you.